Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our dearly departed round 3 review. You will see from the lovely badges of the clubs up on the screen. Our dearly departed 5 who have escaped the Championship on my watch, who we're covering this season. Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford and Brentford will be here each and every week too. Probably to look back on what they're doing rather than look ahead. I know we were 2 shows a week last week, but time is tight at the moment in Bloom Towers with a 3-week-old baby. So not the best week, I have to say, for the dearly departed. We had a dearly departed derby which ended Villa 1, Brentford 1. So we thought we were guaranteed a winner, but we got 2 point scorers in there at least. Watford went under at Spurs. They're now back-to-back defeats. Leeds went to Burnley and got a draw. So 3 point scorers, but Norwich, 3rd straight defeat for them at home to Leicester. But plenty to talk about after we've said thank you to Jay. Jay Coyle, dearly departed, also known as Ben, couldn't bear to lose us. Jay is over on Patreon in the God tier, contributing to the channel and my work here. I'm doing it now. It's brilliant. So we thank Jay so much for being the fan sponsor of the dearly departed show. Couldn't do it without you, buddy. So thank you very much, Jay. And here is our first game, and it is a dearly departed derby. You can see it's Villa versus Brentford. All kinds of links here. Dean Smith, most notably moving from Brentford to Villa a couple of seasons ago, 18, 19, wasn't it? Yeah, so well known certainly to fans of both sides, as are Ollie Watkins from Brentford to Villa and Ezri Konsa. So there's been plenty of synergy between the two clubs, and they now find themselves both in the Premier League. Villa, patchy, a defeat on opening day against Watford, followed by a win the following week against Newcastle. Brentford went into this game without having conceded a goal thus far. They had that symbolic opening day win against Arsenal, went to Palace and got a 0-0 draw. So 4 points and 2 clean sheets has been a good start for Brentford. This one's going to end 1-1. There are your teams. Martinez in goal. Cash, Konsa, no Mings, Tuan Zabi and Target. Douglas Luiz. And then in the centre of midfield, also no McGinn, Young and Chukwuemeka. And that must be a Premier League debut because I haven't fallen over that name before. El Ghazi down the left. Buendia moved over to the right. A lot of conversation about how he was going to be utilised. Ings up top. Still, I say still. We've already mentioned no Mings, no McGinn. Still no Bailey and no Watkins either in that starting lineup. We've mentioned with Villa, it's going to take a few weeks to even get them all fit and available, and then probably a few weeks more to fathom how exactly these new players are going to be configured. And of course we're going to mention him because we mention him every week in the post-Jack Grealish landscape over at Villa Park. Let me know what you think of that configuration to face Brentford. Speaking of the Bees, David Raya in goal. Aja, Janssen and Pinnock across the back. Henry and Kanyos are the wing-backs. Norgard, Janelt. Saman Ghoddos. That must be a first start of the season for him. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Don't think we've seen him in the Prem yet, have we? And Mbeumo and Ivan Toney up top. And you'll see a little football next to Ivan Toney intimating that he got off to his first scoring appearance in the Premier League. Here is the goal. It's fed back to Toney down that right-hand side. I think it's Canos, isn't it? Early in the game as well. Only 7 minutes gone. I think possibly Pontus Jansson gets a touch on it. And you can see Toney, that's a first-timer. It's a free shot from the middle of goal, 8 yards out. And Tony has proven over a good few seasons at a good couple of clubs that he sticks those ones in the back of the net. On a personal note, I'm pleased. I don't have to be balanced and impartial on here. I'm pleased for Tony that he scored. I'm a Championship fan and a Championship YouTuber, and you want to see that Championship top scorer in a promotion team make that step up. Can he get goals? It'd be nice to see. And to go all the way through Peterborough, League One, Brentford, Championship. Can he score with Brentford in the Premier League? He started. And Tony gives Brentford the lead, but only 6 minutes later. And real Championship theme to this. It's the Championship top scorer scoring for Brentford. And last season's Championship Player of the Year scoring for Villa. It's an absolute beauty, isn't it? Emi Buendia gets it on the edge of the box. And I don't know whether there's a kind of miscommunication. I can see Rico Henry and Ethan Pinnock there. I can also see Matt Cash arriving into a gigantic space. And it just needs to be one of them closes the ball, one of them covers Cash. They both, well, I don't know what either of them are doing, kind of hedging their bets really. And Buendia, of course, such quality. Right foot. Good players make good shapes. Look at that balance. Beautiful. He's going to curl that with the right foot into the corner past David Raya. First Premier League goal for Ivan Toney up one end for Brentford. First goal for Aston Villa for Emi Buendia, the big signing. And as I say, with our Championship hats on, nice to see a couple of players who were ready to make that step up getting on the score sheet. That is how it ends. So shared points for our two dearly departed teams. We'll have a look at the table at the end. Tight game. Look down at the XG there, 0.55, 0.91. So no side, both sides outperforming their XG essentially to be on one goal from those numbers. 53-47 on the possession to Brentford. 9 shots to 7 to them, but 5-2 on target in Villa's favour. 2 big chances to 1 in Brentford's favour. The numbers tell me, and let me know if you're at the game, the numbers tell me that's fairly tight, and neither side will probably be going away thinking, oh, that's 2 points dropped. I suspect where we are with both sides, Villa maybe less so. I think Brentford will be happy with that. It's an away game. They're still unbeaten. Tony's got off to the races now, and they got 5 points from the first 3. So I'm sure they'll be more than happy. Let's remember Villa finished halfway up, didn't they? 11th last season. And from a Villa point of view, after that defeat against Watford and being 3-0 down in that game, with all of the stuff we've said about a new look squad, I think 4 points from the first 3 is okay, isn't it? From a Villa. I mean, let me know if you're a Villa fan. It's all about now for Villa. What's the new lineup? Because it was very, very much stayed last year, as in Watkins was there, and at best it was actually Ross Barkley, Grealish, Traore or Trezeguet or El Ghazi, whoever down the other side. Obviously, Grealish was the star player, wasn't he? So it is a reconfiguration job without the star player. And honestly, I would give Villa another 5, 8, 10 games. And then I think we'll know, right, this is the sign. Dean Smith has been very consistent since we've been following him as a manager with those team selections and tactics. So I think in terms of this one, fine, take a point, move on. And in terms of the start of the season, especially with the mitigating factors at Villa, I think it's okay, sort of thumbs pointing upwards for both sides. Let me know what you think in the comments. Aston Villa 1, Brentford 1 in the dearly departed derby. Right, onwards we go, and we're going to talk Watford next. Watford are still above Leeds and above Norwich as well, dining out on that win on opening day against Villa. And look, go figure, if you are possibly going to be losing games quite regularly, which many of our dearly departed will be this season, a win just does give you a couple of weeks of breathing space, doesn't it? You can't have defeat after defeat after defeat, but Watford still as I say, dining off that 3-pointer and sat there in 12th place in the table. Stop the clocks. I'm sure they'd be very, very happy with that. And look, there's plenty of teams in the Premier League, all below them, in fact, 8 of them, who do not have a Premier League win yet this season. Where's the next one coming from, though, is the question. Not away at Spurs, who are top. Lloris in goal for Spurs. Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer, Reguilon, Ali, Skip, Højbjerg, Son, Caden starts Bergwijn. For Watford, Backman in goal. Cathcart, Ekong, Sierralta. That must be a first Premier League appearance of the season for him. Messina in at left back. That looks a little more, other than Kiko Firmino, like the back four that was so effective last season in the Championship. Etebo is sat in front of them, and this is where it's all new look. In fact, take Ismail Assar out of the equation. Look, Etebo, Sissoko, Kuchka, Dennis, and King. None of those players were there in the Championship last season. So it's a very new look. Sarr down the right. Obviously, we should mention Sissoko in from Spurs, isn't it? Yeah. Did Sissoko win the World Cup as well with France? So, look, a player with a big reputation in there. But I repeat, that entire central midfield, Dennis playing down the left-hand side as well, is very, very new look for Watford. And it's not going to be enough to take anything from this one. However, Watford fans will be pretty irritated, actually, with the goal they've conceded to lose this game. And look, we always take the pause, because we don't have the rights to show footage, of course, on the player making contact with the ball. And that looks absolutely fine from a Watford point of view. Wall, one man in the right place. Keeper, looks fine. The line is high enough, although it has, do you know what, it's on, may even be too high with hindsight, but it looks decent, doesn't it? Everyone's covering everyone. I think you see Eric Dyer. The problem is that, and I like Dan Backman in goal, I think it's a bit of a keeper error, this one. And I've seen this exact goal scored by David Beckham against Ipswich back in the day, where you ping that free kick in, and it's almost like the keeper, they're really, really caught between a rock and a hard place, aren't they? Because if you come out and you don't get there, you know any touch by anyone, yellow shirt, white shirt, whoever, it's going past you and into the goal, isn't it? The problem is as well, if you start to come and reset, you end up where Backman is. If you don't come at all, either you're too deep in your goal and if there's a bounce, you're stuck on the line, or the ball can go straight past you. So what Backman does is not helpful, because he steps forward, then he steps back, and by the time he's made that step back, the ball bounces and he can't get across to it in the corner. If he stood still, he might even be able to catch it, actually, easily be able to bat it around the post. So he's just got caught out. We have to give Son Heung-min some credit. A bit Hungarian then, didn't it? Sorry, Song Heung-min, some credit. We'll go more South Korean on that one. It's a good delivery, but it is a bit of a keeping faux pas by Backman. And that's the only goal. So most annoying for Watford. Here are the numbers. When you look at them, the one that really sticks out is 8 shots to 2 on target, which does intimate a viable Spurs victory. But there's no big chances in the game. Watford didn't force a lot. If you look at their XG, 0.67, and Spurs 1.19 on their XG looks to be an accumulation of chances rather than perhaps one particularly good chance. So what I'm saying, in my very pro-dearly departed way, is Watford look like they defended all right here. And I know game state changes, doesn't it? You stick that goal in. What was the time of the goal, by the way? So the goal goes in on 42. And yes, then I do accept that Spurs can then sit in a little bit, go 5-10 metres further back, however you want to slice it. But in isolation, Watford didn't concede many chances in that game. I suppose the worrying thing is actually sticking the ball in the net now, because it's been 2 away games and 0 goals and 0 points from then. And let's be honest, their form last season getting promoted did skew heavily. Loads of points at Vicarage Road. Plenty away from home as well, but this is the Premier League now. So, yeah, there's crumbs for comfort here for Watford. They've played 2 away games. I'd be a little bit worried if I were a Watford fan just about goals and lack of... In those last 2, it might not become an issue, but that would be a potential worry. This one's fairly tight, but does it have the air of Spurs just getting in front and then controlling it under Nuno? You let me know what you think on that one if you're a Watford fan. Whoever you support, let me know what you think. But back-to-back defeats for Watford. Still in 12th. You can dine out on a win for 2 games, but after 3 or 4, if they don't get another one, they will likely be down there in the bottom 6 or lower. So let's get some goals in at Watford and let's get them back home to Vicarage Road. And also, let's get those new players. We pointed out 5 of the front 6 weren't an option last season, were they? So let me know what you think. Spurs 1, Watford 0. Right, on we go. And we're still doing Leeds 3rd. I mentioned this last time. It's Burnley 1, Leeds 1. And we got very used to doing Leeds 1st last year. Or flitted between Leeds and Villa. But in the end, they pushed on up for an excellent 9th place finish. Don't shoot me if I got that wrong. I think it was 9th in the end, wasn't it? So much going around in my head. Off they go to Burnley, where they won 4-0 last season. So look, hopes were high, but only a draw. And we say only on the basis of the high bar set by Bielsa and Leeds last season. For Burnley, Pope in goal, Lowton, Tarkowski, Mee, Taylor, McNeil, Brownhill, Westwood, Goodmanson, Wood and Barnes up top. Are they numbered 1 to... Oh, no, they're not. Look, Westwood number 18. I know they've very satisfyingly been numbered 1 to 11 last week. So for Leeds, Meslier in goal, Llorente back in. So no Cooper, no Cock at the back. Struick... Oh, sorry, Cooper is there, beg your pardon. To the left. So, actually, all 3... I know Struick has been used... Well, look, a lot of Leeds players have been used in that position in front of the back four. It's almost total football-y. But let me say that again. So 3 actual centre-backs. The back 3, I know, playing against the front 2 against Burnley here. Llorente, Struick and Cooper. Phillips then sat. Ailing right, Dallas left. Rodrigo, sort of number 10. Rafinha right, Harrison left and Pat Bamford up top. So interesting that. Very, very interesting. It's often the Leeds graphics get put up as this 3-3-3-1, but it's not very often that it's actually 3 centre-backs at the back. Often it would be whoever's playing left-back last season, Dallas, Alioski, whoever, Ailing on the other side. It's sort of the centre-halves moved across and one or other of the full-backs, and then the next one switched forward, maybe in with a midfielder or 2. So interesting that it's actually 3 centre-backs, but when you consider the aerial prowess there of the Burnley strikers, including former 24-goal striker, was it, for Leeds? Have I got it up there? I can't see it. He can't have been top scoring. He went 27, didn't he? Yeah, 16-17. 27-goal striker for Leeds in the Championship, Chris Wood. So, yeah, makes some sense there what Bielsa has done. Not like him to react to the opponents, is it? And here is the aforementioned Chris Wood. And are we in I could have scored that one mode? I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But it's a very slight little misdirection spot here, isn't it? 61, Matt Lowton has drilled the shot in from the edge of the box. Look, Melié's going to save it until Chris Wood, standing in front of him, big hulk of a man as well, in the way and just diverts it to the side of Meslier and into the back of the net. And Leeds, no 4-0 win. They're trailing 1-0 in this. Remember, Burnley looking for their first point as well. Was that their first goal? I can't quite recall what Burnley did in the first couple of weeks. Anyway, Leeds do get the equaliser. 86th minute. So it is quite a late one. A little bit of a ping-pongy one here. And a similar type position, really. Bamford just has to stick out the foot and divert that into the net in front of those Leeds fans there behind the goal. So a few bits of good news, but Leeds not quite to their brilliant standards of last season. I suppose good news that they had the stoicism to come back into the game. Good news, of course, at Bamford, who's in the England squad now. Lots of people calling for that last season. Good news for him to get back on the score sheet as well, because you know what it's like. You go up, was it 17 goals last season? The tongues wag every week the goal doesn't go in. So to get it in round 3, he got an assist as well, didn't he, against Everton? So Bamford still contributing and looking very much in terms of the numbers like the player last season. Not too many surprises in terms of certainly the possession stats there, 64-36 in Leeds' favour. But look, 12 shots apiece. Burnley shading it 3 shots to 2 on target, 2 big chances apiece, 5 corners. So 1.67 Burnley, 1.49 on the XG to Leeds. It's a very, very tight game, and it's very different than it was last year with the 4-0 and Leeds getting in front and then just pulling Burnley to bits. And Rodrigo got a couple, didn't he, in that game? So, like I said, a few bits of good news for Leeds, who are just growing into the season. They haven't won yet. They had that pasting off Manchester United in the first game. Look, let's be honest, Everton are up there as well. And now Burnley. So, I don't know. I just suspect we'll get Leeds fans who were saying, OK, Manchester United, then Everton. Fine, whatever, 1 point from those. But this might have been the one they targeted as a victory. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think, Leeds fans. It's starting to grow into the season. It's just expectations with Bielsa, isn't it? Remember that first pre-season and they came in for that game against Stoke and looked like they've been playing together for about 10 years, didn't they? So I think people just expect things to come immediately now with Bielsa. And it's taken its time. A third game already this season. We'll look at the table in there, but Leeds in 15th. Only one defeat. Starting to stick the ball in the net now. But I'm sure I echo the thoughts of all Leeds fans. They would like a win. A couple of wins pretty soon just to move back into the area they became accustomed to in the table last season. Get your thoughts in. Burnley 1, Leeds United 1. Okay, we're going to have to play Context is King again for Norwich, who lost their third game here against Leicester. But, and I'm becoming the biggest Norwich apologist in the world, they've played Manchester City and Liverpool in the first 2 games. There's a lot more viable evidence in this game. And since this game has taken place, maybe some of the things we would have picked out may be being solved by some decent recruitment. So, look, yes, I accept the argument from anyone who says, oh, show me when they've got some points. But I think I can see some predictors that that's possibly coming. And in comparison to last time out for Norwich, it does seem to be a little bit more of a tangible feel that they're going to be more competitive. And the fixture list has not been kind to Norwich at all. Has it? There is the 4-3-3 strategy again. And I think in a couple of weeks, it's going to have some new players in it as well. Krull in goal. Brandon Williams makes a debut. That's interesting. I thought Giannoulis was decent. I don't know whether he is. I'm just checking here. He's on the bench. Didn't get used. So Williams straight in there. Gibson and Hanley are the centre halves. Aaron's the right back. Gilmore, Leesmelu and McLean in the midfield. Cantwell, Pookie and Rasica. So I think it's only the left back that's sort of changed there for Norwich. The players we're talking about coming in, Kabak, who was at Liverpool last season, and Norman, a Norwegian central midfielder who hopefully can tackle after what we're about to look at. Schmeichel in goal for Leicester, Pereira, Amate, Soyuncu and Thomas. Albrighton, Ndidi, Tielemans, Barnes. Familiar face to Norwich fans, Mattheson and the great Jamie Vardy up top. And Mr. Vardy is on the score sheet in 8 minutes. And I try to be behind the dearly departed teams, and I do sometimes feel I'm being an apologist particularly for Watford, Norwich and Brentford in their first season here. I'll err on the side of positivity. We do have to call out, though, when our teams make it very, very easy for their opponents. And Norwich have got to stop this. They've got to be harder to score against, ergo harder to beat. And this is not good. It's Williams in the first instance, down the left-hand side, gets completely suckered in. And then Gibson as well, who's been brought as a Premier League ready centre-half. I know it's the penalty box and you dangle a leg and it's a penalty, fine. But would that chance have been any more difficult than the one Vardy gets from Pereira's cross? And look, there's two of them, and the centre-backs, the centre-back and the covering right-back have been stuck too deep. And it's, for a striker of Jamie Vardy's quality, it's too easy. That's what I'm saying. And Norwich have been a really, really good footballing side in the Championship. And it's great being in the Championship with Aarons and Buendia and Pukki, isn't it? But they're in the Premier League now, and maybe there just needs to be a bit more of a focus on being. I'm not saying they need to turn into a Mick McCarthy team or something, but they need to be harder to score against. You sometimes pick out these goals, and I know there'll always be a bloke 3 seats down from you. Whatever goal your team concedes goes, it's too easy. It's too easy. But this one was in the too easy bracket, wasn't it, for Norwich? But they're going to get on the score sheet. Silly tackle from Soenchu. I think it's Lee Smelou, isn't it? Who's heading towards the touchline and, make a block, stick a foot in, concede the corner, whatever. He throws himself in, and Lee Smelou does the, sensible thing if you're in the box and someone's going to throw themselves in, shield the ball, take the hit. And on the VAR, the penalty, I think, rightly gets given. Up steps Teemu Pukki, and I'll say the same thing about Pukki as I said about Tony and about Bamford. Get on that score sheet early in the season, and he does. Strokes the penalty home. Cool as you like. Good news for Norwich. Pukki on the score sheet and a first goal, and competitive in a game, not behind and chasing and being battered by Man City or Liverpool or whatever it was. However, into the second half, and again, I will... Look, let's just be very plain about it. It's a really good finish by Albrighton. Look, it's a difficult angle. The defensive positioning is not that bad. Krill's a good keeper. It has to be a good shot to beat him from there. Yes, you'd want the block coming on. So, we need to give praise to Albrighton. It's a good finish, but... Oh, dear. Gilmour and then McLean, the most powder puff central midfield kind of defensive positions. And honestly, when you see that goal, you can probably see why we've seen this Matthias Norman, Magnus Matthias, arriving from Norway with an option to buy. You would hope, if you're a Norwich fan, that he's a brick wall in there, someone who can sense danger, move other people around. I'm talking about Gilmour, who's supposed to be a passer and a playmaker, isn't he? And just in these opening games, he's not had that sixth sense that a more defensive mind. It's not Gilmour's fault. That's not his game. They need a bit of help in there, and they've got it. So that is good news for Norwich. And let's really stick my neck on the line and put 2 and 2 together and make 10. Maybe that goal doesn't happen. Even if it's a tactical foul. I know you don't like them when they're against your team, but... And this is what I'm talking about with Norwich. It's a good finish, but they've got to make it harder for teams to beat them. 2 quite preventable goals, albeit, look, Vardy's great, we know, and Albrighton is a good finish, but so much in the build-up where even the most hardened Norwich fan would be going, we could have made that trickier. And the game ends 2-1. Look, the numbers look good for Norwich, actually, don't they? I know we'll get the hashtag, there's only one stat that matters. I mean, that's nonsense. There's one stat that's the most important, but there's more than one stat that matters, believe you me. And if you're creating chances and making shots, that's good. Of course, we always say in these positions, when did Leicester take the lead? 76, that often teams do sit in once they've got the lead, and then the shot count goes up and the shot quality doesn't. But look, 14 shots, 4-3 on target in Norwich's favour, 9 corners each, 2 big chances apiece. So there's a perfectly reasonable argument, and this is not me being a dearly departed apologist here, that you can get points from that game with those numbers. So for me now, for Norwich, it's about make themselves, and again, I'm not saying they're sitting there like Steve Bruce or Sean Dyche or whoever, just make themselves harder to score against, and you would think points will come. The other thing I haven't said, Leicester are good. Leicester won the FA Cup and just missed the top 4 and beat Man City in the Charity Shield as well, didn't they? Leicester are good. So the hope is now, with our dearly departed hat on, that against a lesser team, a similar performance will yield points, but and hopefully this Kabak, the centre half, and Norman, the central midfielder, are going to make Norwich more difficult to score past, because that is key now. Let me know what you think. Not tangible on the board cause to be positive yet for Norwich fans, but surely some predictors that some points are on the way soon. Am I right? Let me know what you think in the comments. Norwich 1, Leicester 2. Okay, let's have a look at the league table. Our dearly departed leaders at the moment are still Brentford. Sensational. A good start for Brentford, who, out of all the dearly departed teams, they will be happiest with that points per game so far. 5 points from 3 games. Brentford, if that stays out all season, they will be utterly overjoyed with that. They'll be the only one of our 5 teams, though, because Aston Villa, 4 from 3. Maybe it's not too far off, but they're there in 11th place. They're where they were last season, but we know there's movement forward. And a third one in a row there, Watford. Yes, they've got the 3 points, but the direction of travel with those 2 defeats is concerning. Mitigating factor, again, like we said, 5 of the front 6, and maybe some trickier away games. Let's get them back home and get those players integrated in for Watford. Leeds will not be happy at all with less than a point per game. They've set higher standards than that. However, they've played Manchester United, who are 3rd, and Everton, who are 6th so far. So perhaps trickiest start for Leeds. Not as tricky as Norwich's start, of course. Norwich are not bottom. Arsenal are bottom. How about that? The great Arsenal are bottom. And of course, who else next time? Arsenal v Norwich is the next game. But the glaring number there is the 10 goals conceded in 3 games for Norwich. They need to be harder to score against, don't they? There are your fixtures next time out. Look at the Bluebells. Arsenal, Norwich. Do you know, if that was the other way round and it was Arsenal going to Carrow Road, still going to be tricky though, isn't it? Both sides are going to be targeting that one for some points. Brentford have Brighton and Graham Potter visiting the battle of the data hipsters loving teams there, Brentford and Brighton. It should be a good game, actually. Watford versus Wolves. That sounds like a low-scoring one. Wolves haven't been at it yet, but Watford back home. Fingers crossed, can they stick another win on there? Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Oh, I like my dearly departed teams, but that's a hard game, isn't it? Chelsea look pretty tough opponents this season. Leeds versus Liverpool. So on the one hand, our 2 highest ranking teams are the teams with the hard games, but difficult opponents there, Chelsea and Liverpool for Leeds and Villa. We're going to get some wins next week, please. Yes, please. That was our round 3 review of the Dearly Departed fixtures. Thank you again to Jay Coyle, who sponsors our Dearly Departed shows here. Dearly Departed, also known as Ben, couldn't bear to lose us. Absolutely, I could not. Thank you very, very much, Jay. Now, get your comments in the chat. Let me know what you think. Pretty much with all our Dearly Departed teams, we're kind of prognosticating about the next few games. There's arguments for all of them improving, and I have my fingers crossed when I say that. None of them are quite where, maybe other than Brentford, are quite where they want to be just yet. Please do get involved. I love to see your comments. Remember, look, I don't need you. We've got a great bunch of subscribers here. I don't need to tell you, but other opinions are okay. It's all right to chat with someone who you disagree with and not completely fall out with them and insult them. And we love to hear your views. Get your views on anything I've said, of course. But let's make this a good place for debate, and we always get some good feedback from fans of these teams. And B, let's make it a pleasant place to debate. Always say that. Maybe that's not a message for my subscribers here, but just to the internet, I'll put it out, try and make the world a better place. There we go, one step at a time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hopefully this is a bit more timely than last week, but like I said, 3-week-old daughter. It's tough at the moment, and the bags under my eyes are very, very real. Let me know what you want to see Dearly Departed-wise over transfer deadline and international break. Let me know in the comments on that. Thanks for watching. Patreon, we need to plug. All of that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. We're close to 20,000 now, which has been a real big long-term target. So help me get there. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Okay, thank you for everybody for watching. Up the Dearly Departed, and it's a big over and out from me. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.